Hey girl, are you shopping right now? Because it's Christmas time and you're buying things for everyone but yourself, but you have to take time for you. Self-care is important. And you know what? You know what you need to check out and put in your next shopping cart? Air from Dame Products. Dame Products is a sexual wellness brand focused on closing the pleasure gap for people with vulvas. And I probably own more Dame Products sex toys than any other brand out there. I personally love the versatility of their products because if it says it's a G-spot vibrator, you can use it on your clit too, rub it on your nipple, put it on your neck. It is amazing. So many options. And as a Boonie Breakdown listener, you can receive 10% off of your purchase by using the code Boonie10. That's Boonie, all cap letters, 10. Details on how to purchase can be found in the show notes and on thebooниebreakdown.com. Hey y'all, it's your girl Boonie, and you're listening to the Boonie Breakdown podcast, your source for all things responsible and ratchet. All right. Welcome to this week's episode. We are back. It is a special week. It is a special week here at the Boonie Breakdown. You want to know why? Because it is my birthday week. And you know what else? This week's guest. We are birthday twins. All right. You guys know her. You already know. She's been on the pod so much. She's one of my favorite astrologers. She has supported the Boonie Breakdown since I think she was like on episode 4 or 5 before I even knew what the hell I was doing. She agreed to come on and she has been supporting us ever since. So this week's guest is Mecca Woods. You may know her from her featured appearances in Bustle and Essence and Terra.com, Cosmopolitan. So many great things. And this conversation is just more greatness because you know why? It's SAG season, bitches. It's our birthday. We're excited. And we talk about all of that stuff. And, we talk about our good friend Mercury because, she's back in retrograde this week. And Mecca gives us her forecast for 2024. So you do want to stick around for that conversation. All right, so it's time for Pick of the Week. This week, my Pick of the Week is another television show. I mean, it's cold. It's cold in Baltimore this time of year. So, what else is there to do but to watch TV and be indoors and be in your house where it's nice and warm and toasty? Okay, but anywho, Pick of the Week this week is Bass Reeves over on Paramount. Right now, Paramount and Apple TV have the best content, hands down, best shows. But Bass Reeves is another Taylor Sheridan production. It has David Oyelowo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. It's about the first Black U.S. Marshal, Bass Reeves. It is really good. It's similar to that Western 1883, 1923 style show, but it's really good. It's really good acting, really good dialogue, really good storyline. So if you have not checked it out, go ahead and check out Bass Reeves.
Housekeeping. Come back later, please. Housekeeping. Not now.
All right, we're doing feedback from last week's episode with our problematic fave, Brian. Belly buttons are sexy too. Got some really good feedback that you guys enjoyed this episode. I did ask the Talk to Boonie Tuesday question that Brian wanted and me too. And the vast majority of the respondents said that they do not feel some type of way or think some type of way about the men who they have pegging encounters with. Brian then reposted it and said lies. So take that as you may. I think also I got a message where someone said after listening to the tail end of that episode, they feel encouraged to now go out and get their gun permit. And I am with you. I really need to take action on that. Even though y'all heard an episode, I don't really like guns, but I see the value in being able to legally own and carry one. So I got to work through my own stuff. But if you have not listened to last week's episode, please go back and check that out. You want to know what else? Because it's my birthday week and you want to support your girl in her birthday week, you got a couple options here, right? You can head on over to theboonieBreakdown.com and you can purchase some merch. you can head on over to patreon.com/the Boonie Breakdown and you can join Patreon gang. You know what else you can do? You can leave a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That will help me too. You want to know what else you can do? You can like these reels. If you feel inclined, you can Cash App your girl. Boonie Breakdown. That's what you can do. You can make 2 friends follow us on social media at the Boonie Breakdown on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter at Boonie Breakdown. These are so many ways. Some cost you nothing. Some cost you nothing. Some cost you a lot. But you can support. Even on Patreon can cost you as low as $3 to support. And so you guys know I appreciate every amount of support that you all give and that you show to the Boonie Breakdown, especially as I'm coming back and rebuilding after such a long hiatus away. And so I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all so much. And that is it for me. So let's get ready to break it down. All right, guys. So it's been a while since this guest has been on the podcast, but I have to welcome my fave Mecca here.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me back, Boonie.
Yeah, of course. Look. It only makes sense. We're recording this the day before Sag season. We're both Sagittariuses.
Yes.
We're actually birthday twins for people
birthday
who don't know
twins. Yep. December
people,
babies.
How many people do you know with our birthday? I know a few.
I know a couple. So it's you. I have a friend out in LA. There was another person that I met not too long ago. You know, Offset has our birthday.
I know. I was like that. I feel like Offset has really been like having a chance to shine because everybody I felt like was on the other one, Quavo.
Right,
and I feel like Offset's having his moment. And I'm like, even though Sagittarius men are different than
they are
women. I'll make that
I
caveat.
feel like, yeah. Sag men are definitely different than us women. I think Offset, I don't know. I like him being a bit of a family man. I like that on him. Yeah. He seems to be maturing and that's good, right? Like that's the point. Like as the older we get, the wiser we get, the more mature we get, you know, those kinds of things, right?
That's what they say. That's what they say. You should do. No, it's funny because it's been later in life. Growing up, I didn't know anybody with the birthday. And now I think I went to college and the guy who lived next door to me freshman year, birthday twin. I met this girl on Twitter. We're birthday twins. I met you. We're birthday twins. I recently met somebody else and they're literally born 11:59 p.m. December 14th. I was like, you just made it.
Just made it.
You just made it. So yeah, I always love it's cool meeting birthday twins. And the best season is upon us, Sag season when this is dropping. I know, you know, people get tipsy and out of sorts because of Mercury, the most famous of the planets. It'll be retrograde in Sag season, right?
Yeah. So Mercury will be retrograde. I think actually until January 1st.
Yeah.
So yeah, just right around New Year's, Mercury will go forward again. So it actually dances back and forth between Mercury in Capricorn and Mercury in Sagittarius. So like for anybody out there who's not familiar with like how the stars work, if you can think about like each zodiac sign being like a train station and the planets themselves are like trains. So every time, a planet cycles through one of the signs, they take on that vibe or that energy of the sign, and then they move on to the next one and to the next.
That is a great analogy.
Yeah.
Anything we should be mindful of while Sagittarius season and Mercury retrograde are colliding a little bit here?
Yeah. So this Sagittarius season, it gets off to a little bit of a slow start because we have Saturn and Pisces sort of dragging things down. So Saturn is a planet that tends to be sort of a killjoy. And
And
you
it's
know,
in
Sag is
Pisces.
right, right. So, you know, the first week or so, may be a little bit kind of a downer, but once we start kind of ramping up into Sag season, things will start to pick up. With the Mercury retrograde. So I guess my rule of thumb, right? Because, you know, people are doing like their holiday shopping and things like that. You know, get your warranties, right? Because sometimes with Mercury retrograde, we buy stuff, especially like expensive, like electronics, or like, you know, if you're buying a new car, or, you know, all those like little gadgets, new phones and things like that. You want to make sure that you get your warranty in case something, you know, is wrong with it and you got to take it back to the store and exchange it, or, you know, get something new. So that's definitely something that you want to be mindful of. I would also say, like, with this holiday season, this may be a time to kind of think about like focusing on the essential stuff more
Ah.
so than like luxury stuff. I know, you know, Sagittarius, we love to spend money.
Oh, baby. I start treating
you know,
myself and don't know how to stop.
yes. You know, like a Sagittarius, like our planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is all about wealth and having a good time, good food, good drink, you know, all that good stuff. But I would say, you know, with the season with the holiday season coming up, we might want to be a little bit more mindful of like our spending, our pockets this season.
Noted and noted. Yes.
Yeah.
Once I start, baby, it's hard to reel me in until I feel like this time I caught myself. Like I was in a tailspin a little bit. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You got to
Yeah.
pay this credit card back at some point. So
Right. Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
stop.
No, it's no, I'm right there with you, because I realized that social media is really bad for me. Like, you know how the ads pop up? They get me all the time. I'm such a sucker. I'm such a sucker for them
Certain
damn
things.
ads.
And I don't know who Mark Zuckerberg and all them people think I am, because some of the ads I get don't match my
Right.
income level. So now I keep getting served this ad for Mara Hoffman, and it's this dress that I'm obsessed with. And I'm like, oh, I want it. I see the vision.
Right. How much is the dress?
It's $1,300.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, that's too rich for my blood. But I'm a bookmark it and maybe they'll have a sale. And then I don't
right.
know. But what would the sale be? Like 600? I don't know. That's still
Right.
a bit much for a dress.
I know.
Like,
I saw
casual dress.
there was a Target, was it not Balmain? There's a new Target, you know, what do you call it? Collaboration. I forget the designer, but I was looking at it. It just dropped like November 9th, I want to say.
Oh, I even missed that one.
And I was like, oh, maybe I could. And one of the dresses, so this is Target, mind you, right? And one of the dresses was like $600. And I was just like, yeah, I don't think so.
Not for Target. I'm sorry, like
Not
you're
for
still Target.
Right. Exactly.
You're still Target.
Exactly. So yeah. So I would say, you know, like with the Mercury retrograde, you know, coming in, because I think between December, so let me see, where are we right now? We're in November. Yeah, so I think like between December and January, Venus is the planet that has to do with like feel good, look good, love, romance, and all that stuff like that. So Venus, she's going to be dancing between because she's in Libra now, so she's going to move into Scorpio and then into Capricorn. So Venus in Libra is a little bit more you know, luxurious in terms of like, I want to be pretty no matter the cost, right? But then she goes into Scorpio, and Scorpio is a little bit more conscientious, especially Scorpio and Capricorn. Like those two signs are a little bit more financially savvy.
Definitely
right.
Capricorns.
So yeah, so I would say like, yeah, going into the holidays, we definitely want to kind of be mindful of the spending. So
all right, noted. Mindful of the spending.
I have to take my own advice.
Yeah, definitely. I wrote it down. Like, be mindful. So
yeah,
I'm gonna we're gonna keep going with this. So we got Sag season, this holiday time, and then it'll be the new year. and
Right.
everyone's excited, and we always do our New Year's resolutions and things we want to change or fix or work on. What are the stars saying is in sight for 2024? I know we had this conversation before a couple years ago, and it was exciting because I went back and listened to the episode, and I was like, Mecca was hitting on some things. So,
Right.
what's the forecast for 2024?
Oh, so 2024, one of the big things is that we have Pluto moving back into Aquarius. So, for anyone that doesn't know, so each of the planets have their different jobs that they do. Some of you who are avid, astrology enthusiasts, may have heard that the United States of America, which we live in right now, it's currently going through a Pluto return. So basically what happens is Pluto is a planet that tends to be connected to things like power and control. Pluto tends to unearth a lot of things that are hidden, and bring them up to the surface so that we can like address it and pay attention to it. But because it's Pluto, it's never easy. It's very like ugly, murky, shadowy stuff, right? And I think we've been seeing that, happening, for the past, because Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008. Right. And that was when the banks first collapsed.
Yeah.
And then, since then, like over the past, decade or so, we've seen a lot of stuff with regards to like government corruption, big tech, big business, big pharma, like all of these like really powerful entities and people who have just amassing more power, more power, more money, right? And it's created an imbalance, right? Like everywhere you look, everything seems to be kind of like in a shambles, and when we talk about Aquarius, Aquarius is a sign that is connected to, community, to the people, to the everyday, you and me kind of person. And so with Pluto going into Aquarius, like we saw some of it earlier this year, where you had people banding together in terms of like unions and going on strike and, people basically kind of pushing back, right, against these powers.
Yeah.
And so as Pluto goes back into Aquarius when we get to January 2024, and so like Pluto, like it's a really it's one of the outer planets. So like its cycle is really long, really, like this is like 10, 20 years in the making, right? So when we go back to Pluto and Aquarius, you're going to see more of this of people pushing back against, these powers, right? And the thing is that it's not going to be always pretty. That's the thing with Pluto. Like Pluto is not a cuddly, soft, gentle energy. It could be violent, it could be bloody, it could be painful, all of those things. But the goal is that to create some change. It's about time. So that's one of the biggest things that we're going to see as we go into the new year. The other thing is that Jupiter. So I was talking a little bit about Jupiter earlier. Jupiter is the planet that has to do with like wealth and opportunity. I always like when Jupiter comes around. Jupiter is kind of like a Santa Claus.
Oh, that's good. Some fortune getting spread around.
A little Santa Claus. So Jupiter moves into Gemini in the spring. So wherever Jupiter goes, it stays there for about a year. So, our Gemini risings, our Gemini suns, Gemini moons will be getting some of this Jupiter energy, but all of us will. Like every sign will get Jupiter somewhere, bringing some blessings and some gifts to that Gemini part of their chart.
I think we all deserve blessings and gifts after these stretch years. Like the pandemic was just such a weird time, and it was such a time suck too. And like when I look back at some of the things that happened, it's like, what's that real life? Like spreading the black squares on Instagram because I stand for racial justice, and the whole why was George Floyd the catalyst for all of these faux diversity and inclusion efforts, right? That have all now faded away. So just like when you look back at some of the stuff, like we were literally like people covering their heads and all this stuff to stay away from the virus. but it was also just a time suck. I don't know. Very weird
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I think some of that also was the fact that like we had a lot of planets in that time in Aquarius. And one I feel like sometimes when we talk about like Aquarius stuff, it always kind of reminds us like time is like a construct. Like,
Mm,
like it's real, but then it's kind of like, what is time? It was a lot of
yeah.
that. So I mean, with Jupiter and Gemini, I mean, like I said, everybody is going to be getting a little bit of a gift somewhere wherever Gemini rules their part of their birth chart. But like I don't want to paint a pie in the sky kind of picture because like I said, there's still, there's still some, a tough road we have ahead in terms of like collectively, in terms of like a lot of the different things that are going on, globally and politically and things of that nature. But I can say like when we talk about, Gemini and like the gifts of Gemini, I think, it could be a good time to like learn something new, take classes, meet new people. It could be a good time to like open your mind to new things or a new attitude or a way of life, because Gemini teaches us that we contain multitudes within us, right?
Mm.
I know that Geminis get a lot of get a
I
lot
think
of
because they
flack.
crazy. They
I know
crazy.
that my Gemini kindred get a lot of flack, and yes, like that downside or like that shadowy side of Gemini can definitely be, like the two-facedness and, the gossips and, say one thing and do another, like that wishy-washy kind of energy. But in its most positive light, Gemini can be very entertaining. It can teach us like, that variety, is the spice of life, to shake things up, try new things. Sense of humor, Sagittarius, we love to laugh and tell jokes.
Oh,
Like we're goofballs.
at the core.
At
At
the
the
core.
core.
At the core. So with Gemini, there can be a little bit more levity, to life, to kind of balance some of that darkness, that we're experiencing and seeing around the world. I will say though, sometimes with Gemini, there can be an inundation of like information, coming at you. So I always tell people like whenever we're dealing with like, like Mercury retrograde, for example, or even with Jupiter and Gemini, there may be an influx of like, misinformation and disinformation. So, that's why it's also going to be important, in terms of like, what you're giving your attention to, and like where you're putting your mental energy, so as not to be like overstimulated, or anxious, about stuff if you're just absorbing and doom
Yeah.
scrolling and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do think you have to be careful. I make the conscious decision on my page not to share some of what's happening in the world because
Mm-hmm.
we see it so much everywhere else. So
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
I just want mine to be either light, either
Yeah.
it's funny, educational, but not that I don't have an opinion on what's happening. I just don't want to contribute to the doom scrolling that you just said, because it is a lot at times to ingest, and sometimes you just have to put the phone down or close the app and walk away from it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I was gonna say also with what's happening in the world right now, I think I'm gonna go back up. It was something you said in a previous episode that people may not have listened to, or we have new listeners and they haven't listened to that episode. But you said that astrology is a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you were just saying all these things about good fortune, even though it could be a tough road. And so I don't want people, you're always really good about expressing that, like, don't take this as fortune telling, but it's just a tool that you can use to help plan and navigate. But it's not set in stone kind of thing.
Right.
And I think
Right.
people, we see all of the memes and everything shared on social that it's just easy to be like, yep, that's it.
Right. Yeah.
So I just wanted to do that caveat before we transition to this next part, because also in a previous episode, we had talked about, I'm going to ask you because I can't remember. What was
Mm-hmm.
like your, like, I hate these blank men? Like what sign
Uh,
is yours?
Well, the ones that I always had trouble with were water sign men. Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, because I'm so fiery. Like my chart is so fiery, and then I have like a little air because I'm an Aquarius moon, and a little bit of earth in my chart. So I have no water. So it's always funny because I think we might have spoken about this before, that like whenever you get that situation where you're like, damn, like, why do I keep attracting, Geminis? Why do I keep getting Leos? I don't want this sign anymore, right? It's usually because you probably lack or are deficient in that sign somewhere in your chart or that element. And that person or these people are bringing something to you that you need, like a lesson essentially that you need to learn. That's essentially what it is. So like for me, it was water signs.
I am so happy that you mentioned that again, because I did forget that you had said that. I did. I'm not going to lie. So
No
we're
worries.
both Sag suns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Virgo moon and a Libra rising. Those are the big ones. I do have a lot of fire with Sagittarius in my chart, but Capricorn is there. Virgo is there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So earth that you have. So
I
you have
enough
that
earth.
Yeah, that earth and fire. It sounds like you have it the strongest. Yeah.
I've been very vocal about Gemini men being
Yes.
vain.
Right.
And so I'm happy that you just said what you said, because now I would like to join in on Pisces men. Girl, this feels like emotional warfare. I have never encountered such manipulative men. Right? Like it is I mean, it is mind-blowing.
Yeah,
I can't. I'm gonna have to add Pisces men to the list with Gemini men. And to some degree, they might even be worse. I don't know.
Well, okay. So let's take you're a Virgo moon, Sag sun, right? So with the Sag sun, Sages, we tend to be very straightforward, very blunt, right? They call us the truth seekers of the
Sagittarius,
zodiac, right?
What do they call us? Sagittarius?
Sagittarius.
Such blasphemy. Like I
don't. At the same time, so okay, so then you have that, and then your Virgo moon is the part of you that has to do with how you process your emotions, right? How you process your feelings, what you need to feel safe and comfortable, especially in a relationship. And when you're a Virgo moon, you need to be able to like hash stuff out with a partner. Like, okay, this is a problem or this is an issue. We need to talk about this. Let's work on this. Because Virgo, like all Virgo placements have an inherent need to fix things, fix and improve. Right. So if you're not fixing, it's either you're fixing and improving yourself, or you're helping, right? Or you're helping to fix and improve other people. Sometimes that could be through the work, your career or the work that you do. But then in your relationships, right, a romantic relationship in particular, you need a partner who's willing to do the work with you. And so if they're not interested in that self-work or in the work that it takes to actually maintain a happy, healthy relationship, then you're going to feel unsafe. That's going to be a trigger for you. And when we talk about like, Gemini men, I think that sometimes, again, with the, like that shadow side, and not all Geminis are this way, but, I think the shadow side is that like, if you get an immature Gemini man, it could be very in and out, like 1 minute they're in, next minute they're out. Right. And for you having that earth is very consistent. Right. So even though you have that fiery Sag energy about you, at the end of the day, it's like, I need consistency. I need someone who's going to show up. Right.
I often say that my Virgo moon balances my Sag fire so much, because I feel like, good Lord, if that was not my composition, sometimes that Sag fire will scorch the earth, right? But I feel like having that Virgo placement
Yeah, it gives you some grounding.
And that was also very affirming because I don't mind, because nobody's perfect, right? But I just need to
Right.
see that you're making the effort, or if there's a communication breakdown, we can talk it through. Very few things hurt my feelings. But a lot of things, something may hurt my feelings more if you don't tell me the backstory of it, or if that makes sense, right? Like,
yeah,
so that is
totally.
very interesting. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I see
And then
men might be too much for me.
well, then, with the Pisces, and then you mentioned Pisces. I mean, the downside, like, so when you get an immature Pisces man or a Pisces who's misbehaving, yeah, it can be manipulative. I mean, it's like the gift and the curse, right? Like when we talk about water signs, they kind of have a fast track to like emotional energy. Like they're really good at knowing what makes you tick, because they and that can be and that's the gift and the curse, right? Because they can then manipulate you or push your buttons in a way to get the emotional response from you.
That's
right?
why I said it feels like emotional warfare to some degree. Like,
Yeah.
why do you do this? Like, you know what you're doing. Like, I know that they know what they're doing and they keep doing it. And so it's like, why?
Right.
Why do you want to get this side of me? Like, what are you trying to do here?
Right. Well, then the other part, so that it sounds to me that you're kind of like me, like you don't really have water in your chart. So if you're getting these Pisces men who are,
what are the water signs again? Pisces,
Cancer, and Scorpio. So if you're getting these water signs or Pisces men, it could be that they are trying to get you to be more emotionally vulnerable. That could be it.
Don't drag me, Mecca.
No, I get it. My moon is an Aquarius, girl. That's like the queen, the ice queen, right there. So I get it. I 100% get it. And that's what I had to learn.
Get me to be more emotionally vulnerable. My therapist says that to me a lot. But yeah, maybe that's it. I just feel like it's so much that I can't cope. Yeah. But I never also thought that I would enjoy a Capricorn.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But I enjoy. I feel like what I enjoy about it is they're very upfront. They are who they are. And it's easy to navigate around them. Yeah. But what I don't like is they're very money driven.
Yeah. Well,
it's like money or business oriented, but it's like that is a big driving force for the ones I've encountered. And for me, yes, money is nice because it buys you things, right? But it's not a big motivator for me in the sense of like burnout or hustle like that. No.
Right.
But it's like, oh, I can get some money. Okay. But I'm only going to do but so much because at some point it's just not worth it to me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think, Capricorns, well, that would speak to, your earthy side, right? And kind of giving your Virgo moon like a nice, grounded, sturdy place to land. I think Capricorns, but they're Saturn ruled, right? So when we talk about Saturn in astrology, Saturn is the planet that teaches us things like hard work and discipline and dedication. And Saturn is very goal oriented, right? So people who are born under the influence of Saturn, like Capricorns, success and achievement is going to be something that they prioritize, and sometimes to a fault. Sometimes, like that's where you could get like the overwork, the over ambition, the Capricorns who are like, well, I can't settle down yet until, I reach this place in my career. Right. Capricorns also kind of do that thing where we call like the Benjamin Button effect. A lot of Capricorns are born old souls and they age backwards, the older that they get.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I've ever asked you this. So I'm a Sag sun, Virgo moon, Libra rising. My Venus and Mars are both in Aquarius.
Okay.
What is a good compatible match for me? I've never asked you that.
Oh, okay. So,
just curious.
Have you ever dated an Aquarius before?
Yeah. One might be, you know how they have that thing? It's like you have 3 great loves. Yeah, that
so
was
Aquarius
one of my
was
great love. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Because you mentioned the Venus and Mars in Aquarius, right? So Venus is how we is what we value, right? Specifically when we talk about like our core values, but also like what we value in terms of a partner. Mars has to do with what turns us on. So when we talk about your Venus and Mars being Aquarius, then it would make sense that, an Aquarius would be one of your top 3. I wonder too, right, if you've ever had a Capricorn Aquarius mix before.
I don't think so. I think the one Capricorn I was entangled with, I think they were Capricorn Gemini. I think it was like Capricorn, Gemini, Scorpio were his big 3.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So like, like a Cap Aquarius, I think could work for you. Okay. Or a Sag Cap. Like that, because those signs, they sit side by side to each other, so it's not uncommon to have like a blending of those signs.
That makes sense.
Have you ever dated an Aries before?
Actually, no. I've done a lot of Leo, and it's funny. I love Leo men. All of the important men in my life are Leos. My dad, my best friend, my uncle, my grandfather, my stepfather, they were all Leos. And so I've done a lot of dating with Leo men. I don't know, that's my magnet, but I've never done an Aries, which is
that might be something crazy to explore.
All right, where the April men at?
I would even say like an Aries Taurus blend, since you have that Earth in your chart, or because since you're a Libra rising, it means that you're opposite. Like, so our rising sign has to do with like how we greet the world. Sitting opposite of that, just thinking about the birth chart, has to do with like our partnerships. And if you're a Libra rising, it means that Aries is the sign that impacts your partnership zone. So it doesn't always necessarily mean that you'll end up with an Aries, but it could be, someone, they could have an Aries, like a major planet in Aries in their chart, or they can be Aries-like. So, someone who is very like strong-willed, assertive, go-getter, passionate, like that.
I was waiting for something spicy.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe an Aries.
Okay. I never asked you that. I was not planning to ask you that tonight, but it came up, and it's hilarious that you said Aquarius. I did ask some listeners some really brief questions. So I got 3 back that I thought were kind of, interesting. The first one was, Boonie, help. Can 2 July Cancers really work in a relationship?
Well, you know what I always say, whenever you are dating someone who is the same sign as you are essentially, they are a mirror to you, your best and your worst. I mean, there are definitely other factors to it, because it would also depend on whether or not you were born the same year and the same day. Because then that would mean that your charts would be very similar. Or if you're born on the same day but different year, then that would mean that, there would be some differences between the charts. But just going off the sun sign alone, you're going to be dating someone who represents you in all your best and all your worst. And my thing, when we talk about astrology and relationships, it's always the same thing I find that shows up, time and time again, is that no matter who it is that we are with, that person is always going to be a mirror to us in some way. And relationships, is not only just about like how we feel with that person and enjoying like that companionship, but also like, how do we feel about ourselves? So it could work. Yes. I never tell people that like, like whenever I'm doing like love readings for people, unless like there's just really like things within the charts or within the relationship that are just like, no, like you will be healthier separate than you would be together. It really boils down to whether or not you want it to work, but know that you are essentially dating yourself.
You're dating yourself. There you go. I hope that answers your question. The next one was, why do Scorpios lust for power and manipulate people?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow. Why do Scorpio? Okay. So, you have to understand that a lot of Scorpios, are born into this world with an acute sense of vulnerability. And they often have a very deep rooted fear of rejection and a fear of abandonment. And so when you start to think about those things and how they relate to, control and power, Scorpios would rather like, if there are any Scorpios out there that disagree, that's totally fine. But in my experience, I find that Scorpios would rather eat glass than be vulnerable, like emotionally vulnerable, or even financially vulnerable to people. So that's where like, and then, it also depends on like whether or not like they've been surrounded by people who have like loved and encouraged and challenged them in like healthy ways, because like those vengeful, manipulative Scorpios that you see, that's often a result of like, like them just really not being able to overcome their insecurities.
Gotcha.
But when that happens, like when you get like the game playing and, all of that, that's usually them trying to protect themselves, trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? They're trying to kind of like a preemptive strike, if you will. Like, kind of think about like, remember when you were younger? I don't know if you ever did this, Boonie, but I remember when I was younger as a teenager, and you go through that point in time when you have your heart broken, right? You think, oh my God, I'm never gonna love again. I'm never gonna find, right? And you vow to yourself, I'm never gonna let anybody get close to me again. I'm never, and of course that is not the case, but I feel like that kind of happens with Scorpios of like, I'm never gonna let this person, get me, or get into this place. So rather than put me in that position, let me preemptively strike,
I'm gonna do
it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. And this last one, I promise you, the person who submitted it is a Sag, but I did not pay them to submit this.
Okay.
There may be some bias from both of us.
Okay.
Why are Sag women the best women in the zodiac?
Why are we the best? Well, I think that Sag women, I appreciate our optimism, our resiliency.
Ooh.
We get a lot of flack, I think, sometimes when people be like, you guys are so unserious, you don't take anything seriously, you guys are just a bunch of, just goofballs and things like that. And yes, on some level that's true. But one of the things that I appreciate about Sag women is that, like, we could get our heart broken. We could, fail severely, go through a setback, go through a challenge. Life can like kick our ass, but we'll still find a way to smile, and still find a way to like look forward to tomorrow and still be able to encourage other people around us, with that warmth and inspiration too. So that I would say that.
It's the warmth.
Yeah.
We're very warm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we're funny. And I don't know an ugly Sag woman either. I'm just going to say that too.
Yes. No, I don't.
So it all works. I knew it would be some bias there, but the question came in and it deserved an answer. I do want to ask you, what's new with you? Any new books? Any new projects you're working on? I know the last time.
Oh my goodness, that's
some new stuff. But
great question. So I have been working a little bit more behind the scenes lately, and it's more so because I'm kind of like at a bit of a crossroads in terms of like where I want to go next, with my career. Like I've written books, I've done, collaborations, I've been on TV, I've done a great deal.
Go ahead, talk your shit.
I've done a lot of stuff. I started my astrology career back in I want to say 2011, 2012. And so it's been over a decade at this point, and I've been really fortunate to have done really amazing things, with my career. But now I'm finding myself in this place of kind of like, okay, like what's next? So, for me, because I'm also someone who's like, I don't want to just go after stuff and just be doing things just for the sake of saying like I'm doing stuff. Like for me, and that's the thing, when we talk about Sagittarius or Sagittarius season, Sagittarius teaches us to seek out meaningful experiences, not just any old run of the mill. Like, do you believe in what you're doing? Does this impact you, in a good way? Do you feel fulfilled? Right. And if the answer is no, then it's kind of like, all right, well, you need to go and seek that, go out there and search for that. And so for me right now, in terms of what I'm doing, it's more so I find that like my creative side wants to come back out. Like it's been over 10 years since, I used to, so there was another life I lived where, I wrote poetry, I did open mics, I wrote short fiction, I wrote a movie that I took to the Cannes Film Festival with a friend of mine, another Sag, a friend of mine. And so now, I kind of put that part of myself away to focus more on astrology. And so lately I've been like, do I have things that I want to say? But do I want to do it in a more creative way? So I feel like that's kind of like the direction that I'm kind of like, I don't know if necessarily that's going to be me, but like, I feel like that's what I want to play with now. So
that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Well, can you tell everyone where they can follow you, find you on the internet? I know you do horoscopes out here. Again, you're back with your monthly horoscopes. I was excited. Let everyone know where they can find you.
Yes. So if you are interested in monthly horoscopes, I write monthlies for Anscape, which was formerly The Undisputed, but it's called Anscape. So you can find me there every month, monthly horoscopes. I also have 2 books out. One is called The Astrology Journal, which I definitely recommend for anyone who is interested in who is interested in learning how astrology affects them in real time. My first book that's out now is called Astrology for Happiness and Success. I also do readings. I'm still doing readings for folks. So if you ever want to book a session with me, you can find me at mylifecreated.com. And I'm also on Instagram at One Mechanism. I would say Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter. I hate that.
I still call it Twitter. It's Twitter.
I still call it Twitter. I would say you can find me there too, but it's been such a hellscape over there. I'm like, don't even bother. You can find me on Instagram.
It's holding on by a thread. I think like podcast wise, I've given up on building that page because it's just like, why bother? But I still am holding on personally on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I just feel like
yeah.
at any moment it could be gone. Like
Right.
literally any moment this could
Yeah.
be down. So
Right.
I get
right.
it.
So yeah. So I would definitely say like, yeah, if you're looking for me, definitely go to my website, mylifecreated.com, and you can get all sorts of info there.
Well, let me say this to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy solar return.
It was so nice to see your face again and to do an episode with you. So,
Likewise. I'm
thank
so
you so
happy
much.
to have done this again with you. And yeah, it has been too long. I know
It
that you
has
took a break
been.
too. So yeah.
I
Yeah.
did. I had to take a little pause for a little bit, but it was
Yeah.
good. It got me because I feel like after a while, you know how you just do stuff and the pressure and life took over, and I was trying and I wasn't putting out my best stuff, and so
Right.
I was like, I just
Yeah.
can't. So it just stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and take
I
a break.
Yeah, I'm all for breaks, especially for Black women. So yeah.
Yes,
good.
rest is not a bad thing, and so
Yeah.
yeah, I had to do that for myself. So I'm glad I did it though.
Good.
Good to be back.
Good to see you.
All right, have a good one.
All right, bye.
All right, that is it for this week's episode. I want to say thank you and happy birthday to our guest, Mecca Woods. Be sure to support her. Be sure to follow her. And after we recorded this episode, she sent over another tidbit that she wanted me to share about Mercury retrograde. So we're talking about Mercury retrograde in the holidays. She forgot to mention that there could also be some issues with travel plans, shipping, receiving packages, as well as overcharges or wrong charges with credit or debit card purchases. Mercury rules travel, communication, and commerce. So a retrograde can definitely screw these areas up. So I just want you all to be mindful. I want to thank Mecca for making sure we got that piece of information, especially as we're shopping and moving and the hustle and bustle of this holiday season. So again, happy birthday to my birthday twin. Happy birthday to all the motherfucking Sagittariuses out there, especially my Sag girls. We are the best. There is no debate or doubt about it. Okay. And so again, thank you all. If you send me birthday wishes and I did not get back to respond, this is my response to you. I appreciate you all so very much. All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to listen and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or any app that you listen to your favorites on. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review too. You might just hear your review on the next episode. All right. Follow us on all social media. Share the episode with those you love, those you don't love, those you fucking hate. I don't make these pretty images for nothing. Please like the reel. Comment on the reel, not just the story. It helps so much. Have a dope ass week. Stay healthy, safe, and sane. Thank you for listening. And remember, the ratchet in me always honors the ratchet in you. Namaste. Until next time.